Hello, I am Professor Bachner, your professor for Communication 100, Public Speaking this semester, and this is going to count as our online meeting. So I'm going to try to make it short, sweet, to the point, really reinforce what I want you guys to hone in on, and hopefully you find this helpful. Okay, so a couple things I'm going to talk about in this quick recording is I'm going to follow or just talk about some important class notes, a couple of class reminders. I'm going to give you a couple speech recording tips, so how to record a successful speech, and then also some speech delivery tips, okay? First thing, just a couple things to reinforce, and you probably have seen some of my emails and announcements, is first review the syllabus, okay? So the syllabus is our contract. I follow it to a T. If I make any modifications to the syllabus, I let you know via the announcements. With that said, also make sure you read my announcements, because my announcements give you important class tips, they give you reminders, they give you heads up on certain deadlines. So if you haven't done so already, please review the syllabus, please review the announcements, and really just explore the Blackboard shell in this first week. A couple other things too is make sure that you review the due dates. As you notice, there are things, we are on a scheduled course, so it's not one of those courses that you could just finish anything on your own time. Most of the deadlines are Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sunday evenings. So double check the course schedule and the syllabus for important due dates. My email policy. I am working from home and I'm also working abroad and out of the state. So I am not going to be on campus, as many of you guys are not on campus either. So if you have any communication with me, it will be strictly via email. And my email, once again, is located up in the syllabus. No late work, okay? So I'm very strict about this, especially since we are a rapid 8-week course. There's absolutely no late work. As you notice, we have a couple discussion boards, and your classmates are dependent on you to make sure that you complete the discussion boards on time so they could participate. So absolutely no late work. Unfortunately, just the fast-paced course and the nature of the course, I do not accept any late work. So double check the holidays and maybe other life circumstances that are going, may pop up, but make sure that you get your work sooner than later. And then finally, all speeches are required to be uploaded via YouTube. If you try to give me some type of flash drive, if you try to use some type of other equipment or some type of other recording device, or just send me a large link, I am not going to watch it. So I'm only going to accept YouTube links, and also up on Blackboard there's instructions on how to use YouTube, and I'm sure many of you are more tech savvy than I am, so you could just kind of Google how to upload a YouTube video. Okay, moving on, I'm going to now talk about some basic recording tips, okay? It's important that you have a nice video, and I tried to give you an example of one today. If I can't hear you, if I can't see you, I'm not going to grade your speech. And this is public speaking. These are professional speeches, so make sure that you plan accordingly when you're recording your speech. So first, have a nice background. Make sure it's just not too distracting. That there's not cars in the background, or there's not your family or your animals running around in the back. A simple background, a neutral background, a clean background is appropriate. Make sure that there's enough lighting. So if you're in a dark, gloomy room, I'm not going to be able to see you clearly. So make sure that you have nice, bright lighting. And then also make sure that your camera angle is appropriate, okay? My husband's recording this speech right now, and this gives me a nice camera angle. If you angle it high or low, it's going to look awkward. So recruit someone to record the speech for you, or practice a little bit how you could look appropriate to the camera. A couple other things is make sure that the volume is as high as it could be on your phone and on your recording device. I could always lower the volume, but I can't raise the volume, so make sure the volume is nice and high. Waist up at least. I need to see at least from your waist and higher, okay? So I don't need to be too close to your face or too far away that I can't read your facial expressions. I mentioned this before, but make sure that there's no other distractions. There's not a cat meowing in the back, the TV is not on in the back, the doorbell's ringing, so make sure that there's no other distractions. I've repeated this again, all videos must be uploaded to YouTube and as an unlisted link. And then finally, as I said before, if I can't see or hear you, you're not going to get credit for that speech. So make sure nice audio equipment. Finally, the last thing I want to go over is just a brief delivery techniques. And there's a full chapter on public speaking delivery tips, which is how you perform your speech. And then I'm also, in the next couple videos, going to give you some more tips as well. First, make sure that you fully read the requirements, okay? So we do have a handful of speeches due, and they all require certain content, certain time limits, and certain visual aids as well. So make sure that you do understand what is required of you. Next is, these are formal speeches. So they're not just that you're talking into a webcam and saying what's on top of your mind. Make sure that you're organized, make sure that you're prepared, make sure that you've practiced, make sure that it's a nice, cohesive, professional speech. You and your other classmates, your professor is going to watch these speeches, okay? 3 more things is make sure that you look presentable, okay? You don't necessarily need to be in a suit and tie, but don't look like you just woke up. Once again, it's a public speaking course, it's a formal course. Make sure you look nice for your speeches. Make sure you make eye contact, right? So that is kind of what I talked about in the last point with good recording. You want to make sure that you're recording, your camera is looking at your eyes, it's not at an awkward angle. And then finally, as I've used today, is use note cards. Note cards are easy, they're just a couple pointers to keep you on track, but they're not distracting as large sheets of paper, and like I say, they keep you organized. All right, so in a nutshell, hopefully, I talked about some important class notes. I talked about some basic speech recording tips and some basic public speaking delivery tips as well. The next time I'll give you an online video, we'll be talking about speech organization and the informative speech. Good luck, and I look forward to viewing your introduction speeches.